I love it over here. What's up, YouTube? Over here in Cambodia. Double bicep. I love it over here. Some of the best shape of my life, 54 years old. Legs are a little small. Down to 210 pounds. I love it, all the trolls out there. Oh, he drinks every day. Yeah, okay. Here's for you trolls, right here.
Eu estava na bicicleta no outro dia e eu estou na bicicleta andando com meus negócios. Quando o Rovan Vincino, ele estava no coche dele, ele estava escutando música. E quando eu passei na bicicleta, eu solamente dar ele um saludo. Hey! E ele estava bebendo cerveja com outro homem. Assim eu digo, hey, buenas noches. Todo. Assim era o grito. Oh, Benji viejo. Ok. Eu estava na bicicleta. Simplesmente na bicicleta a correr. Eu estou na bicicleta 7 dias, uma semana. Com lluvias, com neve, com sol, quando está quente, com calor, frio, eu estou na bicicleta. Pero cada dia, quando ele não está trabalhando, ele está bebendo cerveja. E eu posso dizer a ele, tu queres a silla, tu queres ser viejo como eu, para com esta loucura, para bebendo e correr. Now, everybody wants to watch Don Banks. They want to watch Austin Harleman. They want to watch all of these young guys. They want to watch the young guys. And when they watch the young guys, the young guys telling you, hey, more and more they're saying learn the language. And the young guys are saying, look, get your body together. More and more. Whereas the old guys, they're looking at somebody like Jim's Philippine Adventures. I don't know how. I'm gonna put Jim's video onto this. I'm gonna put a couple of Jim's little shorts on here so you can see who Jim is. But you look at Jim's comment section, and everybody's ripping Jim. Benji Viejo, tú tienes un cuerpo que está muy bien, pero tu cara está ruinado, tu cara está fea. These are guys, men, talking about a man. And I don't think that any of these gentlemen are attracted to men in that way. They're just ripping the guy. Just ripping him to rip him. He takes his shirt off and he's well built. He's got, like 6% body fat. They're ripping him. Put shirt on. Why are you doing it like this? And it's kind of like the Vincino and the bike. Now, so I see the Vincino the next day. And I'm riding past on the bike. And he's with his uncle. And he's sober. And he has nothing negative to say. So when he got the fire water in him, he wanted to make a statement. And what it's really all about is about females. he figures that an old codger like me shouldn't have any females and he should have females. And I'm not fighting that. He's right. My day is done. As Calvin is saying, I should be someplace beating myself up, not actively engaging in sexual activity with attractive females. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm right here to admit it. I got one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel. I mean, I'm here to admit this. But if you're gonna have a little bit of staying power, if you're gonna hold on just a little bit, just a little bit, I'm not saying a lot, you're gonna hold on, then it's gonna be wisest if you contact Jim. Contact Jim. See, the first thing that I did when I was Jim's age, the first thing that I did is that I committed myself to run everywhere. To run everywhere. I remember I ran someplace called Pittsburgh, Oklahoma one time. It was out in the middle of absolute nowhere. Pittsburgh, Oklahoma. I remember someplace near Wheeler, West Virginia. I jumped out of the car and ran 10 miles in a truck stop parking lot. Truck stop parking lot is not big. Yeah, 10 miles in a truck stop parking lot. And everybody was looking at me like, damn, this guy is running 10 miles in a truck stop parking lot. I'm driving along and all of a sudden traffic stops. And I know that traffic is going to stop. And I was running for 4 years. I ran every single day. At least a mile. Every single day. So I knew if traffic stopped and I was on a long drive, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, I knew that I'd be running that. If I was running on a 10-mile run, I knew that I would be running at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning about time I got done with the run. So if traffic stopped, and I'm looking at my watch, and I got to determine how long that traffic is going to stop for. I know that if that traffic, if it's a 2-hour delay, and let's say I got 6 hours to drive, and it's already 5 o'clock. So think of it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That gives me 7 hours before 12 o'clock. And I'm going to at least have to run for 50 minutes. So that's 1 o'clock in the morning when I'm going to stop running. If I start running before 12. So if traffic stops, I'd park my car right along the expressway, jump out, and I always had my running gear on. Well, I always have running gear on, either biking shorts or running gear. And I jump out of the vehicle and run. And people were amazed. They'd honk and they'd watch and they'd be like, they were shocked. And they never thought, hey, you know what? I'm in a traffic jam. Traffic is not going to move. We're going at less than a mile per hour. There is no way that I can do anything but sit here. So I'm going to sit here for 2 to 3 hours. So if you count, let's say you go out there and you run for an hour. You run for an hour, come back to your car, and traffic is no longer moving during that hour, traffic is moving at like 1 mile an hour. But after you come back, traffic is moving at 30 miles an hour. You're going to make up all of your time going 30 miles an hour, even though you quote unquote lost an hour running. So that's why if you're really interested, you want to contact Jim and have Jim give you a 4-hour session, which consists of dental work, a Cambodian or Thailand doctor physical or a Philippine doctor physical, 1-hour counseling on nutrition and on gear, like what sports watch do you need? What shoes do you need? What measuring devices do you need? To measure body fat, body composition, which ones are best? And how do you keep records? Now, there's a fourth point, which is what everybody wants to jump to. But let's go on this third point of how do you keep records. You look at an age-rated calculator, and you look at the peak of where you were running. And let's say your peak was at 22 years old. Or even if you're Elliot Kipchoge, and your peak is at 35 years old, which we know was his peak. His personal best is recorded. He knows what it is. So he can gauge his decline. Now, there's ways that I can find out what my personal best was at 22 years old. It's recorded somewhere. But back in the day, nobody did that. And the reason nobody did that is because back when I was my age, back in the day, most of the people that I knew were decrepit. They weren't running anywhere, and if they weren't decrepit, they were like this. So they weren't running anywhere. So it wasn't emphasized. It was something that running was something that you did until you were about 45 years old, and then that was it. You didn't see anybody running. And to confirm this, in 1978, right around that time, was the first time that they let women run in marathons. Now, don't get it twisted. It isn't that people were out of shape back in those days, but it's that medicine, RFK Jr., was not what it is today. So you got health span and you got mortality. Today, if you try, you got greater health span than you had in the past, not just simply mortality. So you can literally run a marathon at 80 and die at 81 running a marathon. And that can be quite normal. The fourth thing that you can get from Jim is you can get in an hour of training session where he teaches you how to move your body. And that's important. You can be, I'm going to give you an example. This shoulder is separated. Here, look. See that bump? That shoulder is separated. And then this wrist was inflamed. So I couldn't do push-ups, and I literally could not lift anything. And it was tough to even run with this shoulder. I don't know how you run with a separated shoulder, but I did. Okay, so I couldn't really bench press. I couldn't really curl. And all I could do was run. So I went down to 179 pounds, and I ran 57 miles a week. And that meant that every Sunday I would run a half marathon. This was when I was Jim's age. But Now, in the past year, my shoulder is okay, and it's at the point that I can bench press, and my wrist is finally okay, so I can curl and this, that, and other. So I'm on the bench, and I swear before the living God, and it's not like I wasn't benching this whole time during this whole like practically 8, 9, 10 year period. It wasn't that I wasn't benching. I was benching, but I wasn't benching consistently. When the pain would start, I'd like take a day off. But it got to the point that I had forgotten how to bench press. There's a certain way that you lift your feet and you arch your back that's very important. I just laid with a flat back. And when you're at full power, you can lay with a flat back because that's another technique. But when you get back going again, you got to generate force through your whole body. So you spend an hour with Jim, it doesn't matter how experienced you are, because I can go to the gym and I do this all the time. I go to the gym and I watch some guys bench pressing. And then I got to go over there and tell them, hey, look, right here on that sternum, watch that sternum bone. And secondly, I got to tell them, you got to let that bar arc. You got to let that bar arc. Now, these are Mexican guys. So most Mexican guys, they don't know about that the bar has to arc. They just push the bar straight up. I mean, and these are people that are lifting weights and they're muscular and they're strong, this, that, and other. But over the long haul, over a 60, 70, 80, 90, 100-year time span, if you're just pushing that bar straight up, you're going to do a considerable amount of joint damage, and you're not going to be able to lift that bar up quickly. You're going to lack explosive ability. So the minute you get sick, the minute you separate your shoulder, the minute you fall off the bike, the minute you tear an Achilles tendon, the minute you're inactive, that's it. That's it. And for the rest of your life, it's over. I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she told me, she said, hey, I'm going to say this part in Spanish. She said, hey, tú puedes comprarme, tú puedes comprarme lubricante. Y yo dijo, oh, sí, no hay problema, yo voy a comprarte lubricante. Así yo estaba con ella, yo da ella el lubricante, yo dijo a ella, hey, mira, este está lleno botella de lubricante, pero yo quiero que este lubricante está vacío en 3 días. So she said, well, the último vaso de lubricante que tú compraste, yo no tengo más porque gente son muy diferente. En estaba un hombre, él estaba conmigo y él no puede caminar. Él estaba en un caminador mecánica. Así él no puede usar las piernas bien. Entonces él no tiene confianza en la karma. Pero él dijo, tú puedes hacer como este con la mano. And so she said yes. And she said, and este es porque yo no tengo lubricante. Okay, now I hope YouTube doesn't flag that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that this guy was not in shape to do what he wanted to do. And that can happen to any of us. Like that health guy says, you know, the guy that sells health care in the Philippines, I forgot his name, and he says that you can work out and you can do this and you can eat right and not smoke and not drink, and you can pray to Mother Mary Mother Mary, Virgin of God, the Immaculate Conception, you can pray to her and then you can walk out and get hit by a jeepney. And then you wind up like this. Now, that happened to my brother. He was like Big Jim, 6'2", 265, 3% body fat. Yeah, 3% body fat. Incredible looking. Family calls me and tells me, hey, your brother, he had a stroke. I'm like, hold on, wait. Vocês estão jogando. Vocês estão jogando? Porque eu não estava em Brasil por muitos anos, vocês estão jogando e vocês só me indicam que eu voltar ao Brasil. Isso que vocês estão fazendo. Porque meu irmão é um touro. Eu não tinha nenhum problema. Assim, I get over there, I shoot back. Because maybe this is true. I shoot back. But I'm going to be real. I went to Colombia. And then I went to Tabashinga. And then I went from Tabashinga to Valadares. I'm not going to lie. That's the cheapest, fastest way to go. Well, not necessarily absolute. Well, really, it's the cheapest and the fastest. You're going to save quite a bit of money if you go that way. But, it's not all smooth sailing. So I get back, and the guy is literally laying in a hospital bed. And when he sees me, now he's been strong the whole time, but when he sees me, the guy breaks down crying. And it's all about the sibling rivalry. I'm older than him, so I used to beat him up. And then when he got big enough, one day he hit me right here in the chest. And he literally stopped my heart. He hit me so hard. And I had to tell him, hold on, wait. I know all the time that I was picking on you, you never quit. But you don't hit me so hard and stop my heart that I'm going to have to quit. So no more of this. So the reason he cried is because there was his arch rival standing above him. The person who he loved and hated most in life. And here he was incapacitated. That's going to happen to me. And I hope he's there for me when I cry. And I hope that none of that happens to any of you. And to avoid that happening to any of you, what I would advise is contact Jim at Jim's Asian Adventures. Stop playing around. Contact Jim at Jim's Asian Adventures. Contact him. And fly to Cambodia and get in a workout with him. Yeah, fly to Cambodia, get in a workout with him. If Jim runs back to Michigan for whatever reason, fly up there to Detroit. Get in a workout with him. He goes to Thailand. Fly to Thailand and get in a workout with him. I'm not above that. If I got, I'm gonna go running in a few minutes. I'm gonna get in a 20-minute workout. I'm gonna go running and I'm gonna go running by 10 o'clock. When I get there, there's gonna be a regional class runner, and he's gonna be out there. Pardon me. And he's gonna run between a 4-minute and a 4:57 mile. So for every lap I do, he's going to do 3. When I get out there, I'm going to say, ¿Cómo está? And he's going to say, ¿Cómo está? And he is muy alegre a ver mí, y yo estoy muy alegre a ver él. And this is the point in it. He's an inspiration to me because I can remember when I could run faster. But I'm an inspiration to him because he knows that his slow days are coming. So we complement each other. We complement each other. He's wondering, how can I continue to do it? And I'm remembering, how in the hell have I done it this long? So that's how we complement each other. That's why life isn't a zero-sum game. A wins, B loses. Don't think of it that way. Don't look at it like sick grandpa. Sick grandpa wins, and Jim from Jim's Asian Adventures, he loses. They both can win. Sick grandpa is one hell of a comedian. He's funny as hell. He's not serious. He's not factual. He's just funny. He's Don Rickles. Jim, on the other hand, is serious. And he has serious things that he can offer. You want to go build a house in the Philippines? Contact Jim. You can even say, hey, Jim, I'm going to fly you to the Philippines. I'm going to fly you to the Philippines. Can you come and frame this? Can you come and frame this crib for me, Jim? Why wouldn't he do it? Why wouldn't he do it? Yeah, you can get a local carpenter, but you can also get Jim to watch the local carpenter. You can get Jim to contract for you. So you're spending all of your time pissing on Jim. You know, pissing on Jim, a highly competent guy. If you say you want to be a sexpat, that means you're going to have some cardio. The worst thing that can happen to you when you're an old guy like me is what's going to happen to me tonight around about 11:30. An attractive woman is going to expect me to show up at her door. And I'm terrified because when I get over there, I'm going to have to do something. And if I can't do something, I'm going to get told to get out. And not only get out, I'm going to get told, don't come back. And she's not going to keep that between me and her. She's going to tell everybody. Eu não tenho capacidade. Let me show you. Let me show you something. Okay, I can't find it right now. But when you have running shorts, they have padding in them. So I take off my shorts, for an intimate moment. And so the woman asked me, hey, ¿por qué tú tienes este? I said, well, it's padding for biking shorts. She said, oh no, este no está padding for biking shorts. Este es por niños. Este está en toda Europa por niños. She's Mexican. You don't see biking shorts all the time. I saw maybe one or two guys a year that'll have on actually a kit. They'll have on actually a biking kit where they got the lights, they got the shorts, they got the whole works. Biking in Mexico, everybody just has a pair of blue jeans and they jump on the bike. They don't care if the bike rubs them raw. So, but they're not riding. They're not riding 300, 400, 500 miles a month either. And some months I'm riding that much and I don't drive my car and I'm always on the bike. So I had to explain to her, no. It's not, no es porque yo estoy viejo, es porque esta forma, porque yo no quiero que yo estoy rosada. So what I'm telling you about is perception. You can have all of the explanations you want in the world, but the thing that you cannot control on this planet is perception. When a person has a preconception, it's going to be very difficult to break. So the best thing that you can do for yourself, if you want to be a sexpat, is you want to get in there so that you can walk to the plate and you can contact the baseball. I'm not saying that you got to walk to the plate and you got to hit a home run. I'm not even saying that you don't have to strike out occasionally, maybe 1 or 10 at bats. But one thing of it is that if you get up there and you're at least hacking away and you hit a whole bunch of foul balls, people are going to take you seriously. Jim's Asian Adventures can get you to the plate where you're going to be making contact. That's right. Go into his comment section, email him, contact him, get in a 4-hour session. Dentist, doctor, what equipment you need, what records you need to keep, and the movements you need to make. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how experienced you think you are. I set up a video camera and I watch myself bench press, and I see something entirely different than I seen just sitting there bench press. I take my GoPro out and I watch myself run, and I see something entirely different than I saw when I was running. The observation of another person can really, really, really help you. It's worth the time and the investment. Now, if you're totally immersed in a culture and, you know, in an athletic culture, and there's an exchange of ideas, and I'll admit that I have that. You know, I have guys that'll tell me, hey, look, you know, your stride right isn't right. Your pace is off. You might want to go a little bit faster. You're not navigating turns right. Don't use the dead man's grip today. Use the full grip. Try this grip. Make sure that you measure out and have your spacing right on the bar.